A short audiobook today. That Rabbit Belongs to Emily Brown by Cressida, Cowell and Neal, Layton. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Emily Brown and an old grey rabbit called Stanley. One day, Emily Brown and Stanley were just launching themselves into outer space to look for alien life forms when there was a rat-a-tat-tat at the kitchen door. He was the chief footman to the Queen. He said, "The Queen has so very kindly noticed your rabbit. She would like to have that bunny wunny in return. She offers this brand new golden teddy bear." Emily Brown looked at the Queen's teddy bear. It was stiff and new and golden and horrible. It had staring eyes and no smile at all. "No thanks," said Emily Brown. "This rabbit is not for sale, and his name isn't Bunny Wunny, it's Stanley." And Emily Brown shuts the door politely. An hour or so later, Emily Brown and Stanley were just riding through the Sahara Desert on their motorbike when there was a rat-a-tat-tat at the garden door. It was the army. The captain saluted and said, "Her Most Royal Highness Queen Glorina III greets Emily Brown, and she would still like to have that bunny wunny. In return, she offers the brand new golden teddy bear and 10 talking dolls that say, 'Mama, Mama.'" Emily Brown said, "No, I don't want 10 talking dolls. I want my rabbit, and his name isn't Bunny Wunny, it's Stanley." And Emily Brown sent the army, less politely this time. A few days later, Emily Brown and Stanley were just deep-sea diving off the barrier reef when there was a rat-a-tat-tat at the garden door. It was the Navy. The Admiral saluted and said, "Her Most Glorious Royalness Queen Glorina III greets Miss Emily Brown, and she would like you to hand over that rabbit at your earliest convenience. She points out she has the poshest person on the planet, and Bunny Wunny will be much better off with her. In return, she offers you the brand new golden teddy bear, 10 talking dolls that say 'Mama, Mama,' and 50 rocking horses that rock forever." "I don't care who she is," said Emily Brown. "That rabbit belongs to me, and his name isn't Bunny Wunny, it's Stanley." And she sent the Navy away. A few weeks later, Emily Brown and Stanley were just climbing through the Amazonian rainforest when there was a rat-a-tat-tat at the garden door. It was the Air Force. The wing commander saluted and said, "Her Excellence was the Most Mighty Queen Glorina III greets Miss Emily Brown and says she must have the bunny wunny right now, or she will not answer for the consequences. In return, we will give her a brand new golden teddy bear, 10 talking dolls that say 'Mama, Mama,' and 50 rocking horses that rock forever, and all the toys she could ever desire." Now, Emily Brown was fed up. She sent that Air Force away, and she pinned a big notice on that garden door. "This rabbit is not for sale, and his name isn't Bunny Wunny, it's Stanley." A few months later, Emily Brown and Stanley were lying fast asleep in bed, dreaming of all the adventures they would have the next day, when there was absolutely no noise at all at the door, or the gate, or the window. Silently in crept the Queen's special commandos. Shh! And they stole the rabbit that belonged to Emily Brown. When Emily Brown woke up the next morning for the first time in her life, there was no Stanley. Emily Brown was so cross she knew what had happened. She marched straight up the palace on the hill. She knocked on the naughty Queen's front door. Rat-a-tat-tat. Emily Brown ran into the palace, and there was the naughty Queen, crying like anything. The first thing she said was, "Thank goodness you've come, Emily Brown. There's something wrong with Bunny Wunny." There was indeed something wrong with Stanley. The silly, naughty Queen had put him in the royal washing machine all night, and he'd come out an odd pink colour. The royal dressmakers had stuffed him full, so he wouldn't go flippy-floppy anymore. And worst of all, they had sewn up his mouth where Emily Brown had picked it away. And Stanley wasn't smiling anymore. Stanley was miserable. "Oh," Emily Brown said. "Oh, Emily Brown, is there anything you can do?" asked the silly, naughty Queen. "There certainly is," said Emily Brown. "I shall take Stanley home." That silly Queen started crying harder than ever. "I have all the toys in the world, but none as nice as Stanley." Emily Brown felt sorry for that silly Queen, and she went to the royal toy cupboard and she took out the brand new golden teddy bear and she placed it on the Queen's lap. Emily Brown whispered so that no one else could hear. "You take that horrid brand new teddy bear and you play with him all day, sleep with him at night, hold him very tight and be sure to have lots of adventures, and then maybe one day you will wake up with a real toy of your own." And Emily Brown and Stanley went home. That was the last Emily Brown and Stanley heard from the silly, naughty Queen for quite some time. But one day, a couple of years later, just as Emily Brown and Stanley were exploring the uttermost regions of the Milky Way, there came a rat-a-tat-tat on the kitchen door. And it was the postman with the letter for Emily Brown, and it just said, "Thank you."